And then there were four, well, not teams, but quarterfinals. And that is what is going to take this FIFA World Cup forward. We have our 8 quarterfinalists, and starting from today, the 2 semi-finalists will be finalized. Hi, I'm Rahul Pandey at the Indian Express, and joining me all the way from Qatar is Sandip Gopal. And today we're going to talk about how are the lineups, how are the matchups looking for these 4 quarterfinals. Sandip, exciting stuff. The round of 16 went pretty much not exactly as same as people would have expected these fixtures to go, but we have strong lineups for these 4 quarterfinals, starting from Argentina, Netherlands itself. Let's talk about these 4 matchups. Which one are you particularly most excited about?
Argentina Netherlands game. I mean, with the kind of history it has and with the kind of players it has, it has. I mean, the great moments it had now. I mean, you look at Dennis Bergkamp's goal or the total football 1974, which the thrashed Argentina and the 2014 semi-final as well. So the kind of history and the kind of evenly matched teams they are, no, like Argentina and Netherlands. I mean, so that must be the tastiest contest of this quarterfinals.
It's a bit different from their 2014 meeting, which was their last one at the World Cup in the semi-finals, of course, of that Brazil World Cup, because both the teams have had their vulnerabilities, haven't been picture perfect in this competition so far. But come the round of 16 match, I kind of thought Netherlands looked the more complete side than Argentina, who maybe lost the plot a little bit against Australia towards the end. And there was a certain risk to the way they were operating of conceding maybe another and the match going into extra time.
Absolutely. I mean, compared to 2014, both teams are better. I mean, both teams are decisively better in terms of strategies, in terms of personnel. I mean, 2014, Van Gaal had a very basic defensive squad. Like, I mean, you had people like Bruno, Martin, Indies and all playing there. I mean, this time he's solid. I mean, the defense looks very solid. I mean, you have Van Dijk, Timber, who's one of the hottest talents in Europe, and Matthias de Ligt, who's not even getting an opportunity. So, and Nathan Ake, of course. I mean, the kind of defensive resources is immense, and as is they have Frankie De Jong. Then last time around they didn't have a decent defensive midfielder. That was an issue, and overall the Dutch team, I mean, looks much more compact than it was in 2014, and more or less the same with Argentina as well, because Argentina 2014 had structural issues, had imbalances there. I mean, Alejandro Zabella couldn't quite manage that balance between attack and defense. So, I mean, both these teams have looked an upgrade clearly. I mean, even Messi also. Messi into 2014, I mean, was completely locked, absolutely locked. He had like, I mean, 3-4 touches of the ball in the entire game. And he also seems a more liberated force and a slightly different role, slightly deeper role he's playing. I mean, this context has makings of another epic match.
Yeah, absolutely. And, speaking of Messi, speaking of Van Gaal, the last dance for both of them at the world stage, Louis Van Gaal, of course, people are expecting this to be the final job for him. And for Lionel Messi, of course, he has expressed how he wants, this is to be his final World Cup with Argentina. So it's going to be an emotional roller coaster, surely, for their fans, certainly. But which team do you see surpassing the other one in this particular contest?
I mean, I feel Netherlands has a slight advantage in terms of the discipline they have. I mean, the structural compactness they have. Like, I mean, it's a very well drilled side. I mean, it's like everyone knows exactly how much he needs to move, how much he doesn't need to move. I mean, it's inch perfect team. So I think if it doesn't go to no extra time, I mean normal but the shootout, I think I fancy the Dutch, and especially Argentina's defense. It has its vulnerabilities, and when you have Nicolas Otamendi still there at the heart of the defense, you are prone to vulnerable to quick counter attacks, which the Dutch are so good at. I mean, it's a very different Dutch side when you compare to 1980s or 70s or even early 2000s. I mean, it's a Dutch side that doesn't need that much of a possession. It's not a possession obsessed team. Um, and more of a counter-attacking team, but it does the counter-attacking job superbly. And you just need to give this Gakpo and these guys just a sniff of a chance and they'll score. It's so clinical
Yeah,
with their finishing. Especially Memphis Depay was a revelation that way because he used to be kind of a wasteful kind of a guy back then in his early Barcelona days and Manchester days also, but he's changed, the transformed guy.
true, true. And then, of course, we have the fixture that's going to kick off the quarterfinals. Brazil facing off Croatia. Brazil, of course, losing one of their group stage matches, but looked really flawless in that round of 16 fixture against South Korea, especially that first half, scoring 4 goals. I think that was the first time they scored 4 goals in a knockout match first half since 1954, which is quite the thing even by Brazilian standards. But then we have Croatia facing them, who didn't look the same team as the 2018 Croatia, but they have managed their way into the quarterfinals and now just one win away from that semi-final spot. And also have been the team that has liked to play the game a little slow, as they did in their round of 16 fixture, as they did against Belgium, in fact, not conceding a goal. How do you see them approaching this match against Brazil?
They'll obviously look for again slow build-ups, compact structure, keeping the shape, not giving any easy goals. I mean, the one trademark of Croatia, right from the first World Cup, was their resilience, the tenacity. I mean, those virtues, they'll bring those virtues to the ground. I mean, you look at anyone there. I mean, this night might not be as technically accomplished a team as the last time around, but this is a very young team. I mean, you have somebody who's just 20 uh, manning the defense. I mean, it's a very young team. So, and with a couple of experienced players, always like Lovren and Perisic, and of course Luka Modric. So, there is a blend of maturity and maturity and youth in them, and they and the resilience. If they're able to bring the typical Croatian resilience, I'm sure Brazil won't have it easy. Brazil, it won't be an easy game for Brazil. It won't be a cakewalk at all for Brazil. I mean, they'll have to work really hard. I mean, they have to be very wary of those the strikers as well, like Kramaric, Perisic. Perisic is quite fast, and that makes Danilo's job will be not easy. Uh, so Croatians are not as underdogs as a lot of people believe they are. I mean, they are a pretty strong team. I mean, if they bring on their best game, Brazil will have problems.
Absolutely. And um, as far as Brazil are concerned, they really looked a different side with Neymar clicking up alongside that attacking line. I think we've spoken about this during our first preview of this competition, and that's what looked really evident, sort of the final piece in the puzzle thing for Brazil in that round of 16 match, when you have Vinicius, when you have Richarlison, when you have Rafinha already in that front line, and then Neymar comes along. They click really well. How do you see that being the advantage for this Brazilian teams against, as you mentioned, a sturdy Croatian defense?
Yeah, the key, I mean, the key to unlocking Brazil, it's not the forward line. It's the central areas. I mean, you manage Casemiro and the defenders. I mean, when you, I mean, half was always done. I mean, if we look at the last match, couple of, I mean, everything basically originated from either Thiago Silva or Marquinhos. Thiago Silva had two assists to his name, and Marquinhos originated one of those Richarlison's goals. So I mean, and they're absolutely stable as well. So you gain midfield control, you stop Casemiro, and then I think you can stop the forward line also, because all of them, all the four of them, like I mean, basically like to get good service. I mean, they need they don't drop deep as much as some other sides, like some other pressing sides. So if you cut out the midfield channels, I'm sure. I mean, they will be a little chalked. But which is
Yeah.
a very difficult job. I mean, which is a very difficult job to contain the Brazilian midfield and defense because they're so skillful, so good at reading games, so experienced. I mean, so and so adapted this defense splitting passes. So it's going to be a very difficult task, but it's not an impossible task.
Do you then see a possible and a sort of all favorite Argentina Brazil semi-final happening? Because since Netherlands is your pick for that semi-final, do you see Croatia possibly overtaking Brazil in this one?
No, I don't think Brazil. I mean, Croatia will beat Brazil. I mean, they'll give him a very tough time, but I think Brazil will eventually win the game. I mean, should win the game at least by a couple of goals.
Yeah. Uh, right then, let's move to, I think, a little more difficult matchup, personally for me. Morocco outclassing Spain in that round of 16 match meant that they set up the quarterfinal against Portugal. And it's fascinating, right? We are 4 matches into this tournament. Morocco are yet to concede a goal from the opposition. The only goal they conceded was an own goal. And they haven't even conceded in the penalty shootout. All 3 of the penalties that Spain took did not go into the goal, 2 of them being saved. So does this team look on their way to another win in the competition against a very good Portugal side that did show that it is not at all about Ronaldo and they can go on and win big games even without their talismanic striker, their once talismanic striker?
Yeah, it's a bit of a complicated match, but I think Portugal do. I mean, unlike Spain, Portugal do have the goods to beat Morocco. Like they're not. I mean, they're much more philosophically, strategically flexible team than Spain was. Spain was steadfast on their philosophy, on the passing game, and it was more or less like vertical passing, which undid them. So, I mean, Portugal play a more direct game. They have like you have Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva, and now Ramos as well, and they're very quick as well. Like especially the wing backs. They have Cancelo, and even up front we have again Joao Felix. I mean, it's the threat is a more it's a more direct kind of a threat than Spain. Spain, I mean, you saw the difference when Alvaro Morata came on for Spain, and when they were more direct, they were more threatening. I mean, I think more than anything else, Spain was very unlucky that last game. I mean, they had their chances. I mean, you rattle the crossbar, you go this way, you go that way, and just missing. It happens. I mean, but to contain Portugal, they need Moroccans would have. I mean, would need a really good day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you talked about Goncalo Ramos. You've, of course, watched that match happen as it is. What was the difference that you saw between a Portugal team that did not go into the match with Cristiano Ronaldo, and you have, of course, seen him play in Portugal at this World Cup? What's the basic difference been for the 2 Portugal teams that have played at this World Cup so far?
The fluency. I mean, with him, they were a much more mobile team. They were like, I mean, he's a very modern day striker who, I mean, he's actually not a classical striker in the sense he's kind of a second striker I mean, he's a classical Roberto Firmino kind of a striker actually. When his main motive is to make space for the others. He drags defenders so that Felix and Bruno can attack. So that was how it panned out. But then he got great 3 chances, and he was so ruthlessly clinical about it. So I mean, you have a very modern day forward in a very modern day setup. So Ronaldo was slowing things down, whether it was United or whether it was with Portugal. I mean, he was scoring goals all right, but he was kind of it was like Portugal were playing with 10 men especially when they were pressing. So that made a
Yeah.
massive difference. I mean, his speed, his mobility, his work rate, terrific.
Right then, the final match left to discuss is, of course, one of gigantic proportions as well. Possibly can be the most exciting match of these four. England taking on France. France, of course, have looked at their ruthless best in this competition. Their kingpin in terms of attack, Kylian Mbappe, has looked at his ruthless best, scoring 5 goals, 9 goals already in 11 World Cup matches for him. No other player before turning 24 has scored even 8. And of course, he looked in fine form in that last round of 16 match against Poland as well. How do England stop him?
Oh, it's going to be a very difficult task for him. And the guy, I mean, England defense is pretty sturdy, but I mean, to stop Mbappe, I think it will be very difficult. I mean, you'll need for all the people, Declan Rice, to have a great game. My hopes are pinned on him. Like if England can beat France, if England does beat France, it means that Declan Rice has a terrific game. I mean, for me, he and of course Bellingham also. Bellingham has also looked pretty good in switching between attack and defense. So the defense, yeah, I mean, England defense is not. I mean, on paper they haven't considered too many goals, but when you look at those names, you feel there is a vulnerability in the defense, uh, especially if Harry Maguire is the heart of the defense. You can somehow he has held on pretty well with England, but I don't know whether Southgate might be even tempted to go with a three-man defense, which he used to in big tournaments like Euro final, and 2018 semi-final. Although he did that, so you never know. But to me, these guys, Bellingham and Declan Rice, will have a great. I mean, we'll have to have two of will have the best days of their life to salvage something out of this match. I mean, it's not just Mbappe. You have like the one guy who really impressed me has been Griezmann. Griezmann in playing that in that playmaker role has been superb. Like I mean, last time 2018 he was kind of a forward, left-sided forward. I mean, but this time he's behind those two strikers. He's been exceptional. I mean, in pulling the strings, in giving the pass, and scoring a goal himself. So. Um, and then the pace on the wings is electric. You have not just Mbappe, you have to deal with Theo Hernandez, you have to deal with Dembele. So I mean, just after the group games, Arsene Wenger pointed out this. I mean, the team that has the best white players will go on to win the World Cup, and France has the best white players. So it would take a bit of a uh, uh, thong for England to actually salvage something out of this match. And of course, Luke Shaw and Kyle Walker will also have to have superb games for. Yeah, England's forward line is more or less settled. I mean, there is speed, there's verve. Saka, Kane, and I mean, Southgate has used Kane carefully. Like I mean, 70 minutes he's been given break. 70 minutes, 56 minutes he's played a couple of games, so he's relatively fresh. But then um, you can score a couple of goals against France, but France can score five against you. That's a danger.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a little bit of an uncertainty, not per se in the last couple of matches, but there was a little bit of it in during the group stage in terms of Phil Foden starting or not. Which other players do you see in this lineup, and how do this, seem to you positionally starting this match? We say five at the back, probably the two wing backs and the three-man defense. How do the attacking stars then start off in this fixture for England?
If Phil Foden is injured, he can directly swap him with Rashford. So Rashford can start, but I think Phil Foden is a much better positionally. He's a much better guy. So then obviously you have Saka. So they'll have England will have their traditional formation where Harry Kane will be at the focal point, and then you'll have these guys Saka, Foden, and it will be very interesting if he just unleashes Grealish also. Like I mean, he is one player who can make things happen. And if you and it's worth trying him to it's worth giving him a playmaking kind of a role just behind the striker. That will be interesting. I mean, he's one player who certainly can unlock many defenses and who But the thing is that he again slows down the game a bit. But if England wants to slow down the game, he's the best guy.
Yeah, and they might look to do that, especially against people who run as quick as Ousmane Dembele and Kylian Mbappe. Well then, a little bit of prediction time in this one as well. Which team do you think inches
France.
past the other one? France.
France. Yeah. I mean,
So
it's hard to.
that gives us a Euro 2016 final as the semi-final in the World Cup. France against Portugal.
Yep.
That'd be swell.
That's possible. Yeah.
Yep. That'd be brilliant.
But I hope Portugal. I hope Morocco does something special and keep. So maybe that will be a nice balance to this World Cup as well.
Oh, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Sandip, for joining us. Pleasure as always chatting football with you, and thanks to all our viewers. If you do want to stay tuned to everything that's happening at the FIFA World Cup and beyond it in the world of sports, you know the drill. Log on to theindianexpress.com and stay tuned to all our video content on the different social media platforms. Thank you.